Yanks fell short of their goals in 2016, a host of youngsters gave fans big reasons to be optimistic for the future. Our Meredith Marakovits recently sat down with Hal Steinbrenner, and in part one of a two-part interview that was taped before the Brian McCann trade, Steinbrenner talked about some of the key players from last year's team, plus the way things are going as the Yankees prepare for 2017.
Hal, I know that we're not too far into it, but how's the offseason been treating you so far? Is there an offseason for you?
There's no offseason. A lot going on. And, Cash has had his pro scouting meetings, so spent a whole week doing that, going over every free agent, every possibility. And like we do every year, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through every possibility, trying to get a good idea of where our weaknesses are and where we can improve, and then, look at our options.
We'll definitely take a look forward to the 2017 season. But first, when I say 2016 Yankees, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Tough year. I mean, always disappointing when we don't make the playoffs. That's unacceptable, quite frankly, the way we view the world. But there was a lot of hope the last 2 months, a lot of hope for the future, a lot of excitement, and the last 2 months was certainly better than the first 4.
What excited you most about those last 2 months when it comes to the youth?
Well, I mean, the fact that they came up in not September call-ups, they came up in a real pennant race where things were tight and close the entire time, really. It was the real deal for them, and that you can't have a better test than that. I mean, the pressure was on, and they responded.
Do you think there's any feasible way that Gary Sánchez, maybe not at that pace, but can be that type of a solid go-to guy in the offense and also contribute defensively next season?
Yes. I think I certainly do, and I know a lot of other people do. We've been watching Gary for a lot of years now. And we always knew the potential, as we did with several other players that I'm sure we'll be talking about. But we've watched him progress, and it's all gone well. And, I mean, he is the real deal. He's everything we thought he would be.
When you look at Aaron Judge, you saw a small sample size. What are the expectations for him? And do you think, after a year, you'll know what you can get from him long term? He's
got some work to do. He knows that. We're going to figure out exactly what we think is wrong. My expectations are he's going to be my starting right fielder this year. So, that's a big deal and a big opportunity, and I know he's going to make the most of it.
How do you see Jacoby Ellsbury, Aaron Hicks, and Brett Gardner kind of all fitting in?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I certainly know that we saw that Brett needs a day off once in a while, and Els needs a day off once in a while, and Hicks, too, for that matter. So we're just going to have to see, but, I mean, at least it gives us the flexibility of giving guys days off, and it's a marathon, you know that. So they need it, and I think Hicks is going to have a good year, and Judge, big opportunity for him.
One thing we haven't talked about is the middle of the infield. Didi Gregorius, Starlin Castro. You talk so much about these young guys, but everyone kind of forgets. They're only 26 years old.
Right.
Do you like what you've seen up the middle?
I do, yeah. I mean, Didi's been phenomenal. How could you ask for more? And Castro's been great, too. He's fit in. I think they've come a long way, and Castro's got more to do here. He's got some potential. So he was exciting to watch this year. Dellin
Betances has been so good for you guys for the last couple of years, but did have some hiccups at the end of the season. Are you worried about him at all, and do you think he could be the closer?
Health-wise, I'm not worried at all, and mentally-wise, he's as tough as they come. So, yes, I think he could be the closer. That doesn't mean we're not going to strengthen the bullpen in one way or the other. We'll see where he fits in, where he best ends up. I mean, we're just starting that whole process. But, particularly with some of the young starters we have, I think it behooves us to strengthen that bullpen and kind of try to shorten the game a bit.
When you look ahead to 2017, how much competition do you think there will be in spring training this year trying to vie for some of those spots?
Well, there's going to be competition in the starting rotation. We know that. I mean, we've got Warren, we've got Green, Sessa, Severino. We've got some Mitchell. We've got good options for two spots, right? So that's going to be pretty fun to watch, I think. But yes, you've got young kids that are going to be there. Ref Snyder, he'll be competing for a job. Tyler Austin. So it's just great to be able to witness that. It's great to be able to be in that situation, to have that kind of talent actually competing for one of 25 spots.
And Meredith will have more with Hal on Thursday's edition of Yankees Hot Stove. One of the big things about last year, I think, is the Yankees finally taking that leap of faith to say it's time to find out what Gary Sánchez can do. Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, and especially in the case of Sánchez, they were rewarded big time for that.
Well, huge what he did, I mean, the last couple of months of the year. But I remember on that last postgame show, we were talking about the improvements the Yankees made and how it was a successful season because you developed some of the young kids. But when the owner comes out in the offseason and said, no, we did not win, we did not go to the playoffs, it changes your whole mindset. You could tell how excited Hal was about the young players. The one thing that jumped out to me, though, the bullpen maybe needs to be reinforced. You think about Chapman when he says that.
Right, you think about Chapman as the headline for the bullpen. bullpen. But you think, where did Hal Steinbrenner hear those words before? You heard them from George Steinbrenner. His mission statement was always, if you don't win a World Series, it's been an unsuccessful season. And that's a very high bar to try and ascend to each year. And I think what's interesting about what the Yankees are trying to do right now is they're rebooting on the fly. They're bringing in these young players and trying to remain competitive at the same time. Sánchez burst onto the scene, as you said. This is not the Astros or the Cubs who basically said, we're willing to lose 100 games while we are patient and wait for these young players. The Yankees are trying to remain competitive while injecting those young players in. Real quick follow, do you think that makes them more apt in 2017 to say, okay, we want to take a chance with the next guy at AAA and maybe a few guys? I think Sanchez's success, Bob, is one of those things that you say, I'm not sure you're going to get that every year. But I do think that players make the decisions for the GMs and the managers. We're always saying, oh, I wonder what the manager is going to do. I wonder what the GM is going to do. The players' performance will dictate that. You know, I think other young players look at the success of all those guys and say, you know what, why not me? I can go up there and contribute right away because Gary Sanchez did it. It gives the players in the minor leagues a lot more confidence. They're going to get opportunities, first of all, and they can take advantage of those opportunities.